Welcome, everyone. This is Si Wing Yi, and my co host is Julie. So, today we're going to talk about my specific real estate network. You've been part of my network. I have more than 1,000 free member who is part of our network, our investment club, if you will. So you see it by being free member of an investment club. You will see amazing free real estate investing education that come to your email inbox pretty much every day. So we cover so many great topics. You and I have done so many podcasts on a weekly basis. We talk about all aspects of real estate investing. So the benefit of our real estate investors within our network is that, again, is a free membership, right? You learn everything free of charge. And then if you decide to buy a property within our network, of course, that's how I get compensated. Julie, you've been part of my network for several years now, and you took the plunge. You are pretty much still a newbie, and yet you have purchased a total of 6 rental properties altogether, and that was around 3 years ago. So you and the contents that that we talked about, and it's something that was really very amazing. In my mind, we talk about where to buy all the cash flow markets. We have vetted all the markets. We have some great teams together in those local markets in the Midwest, Buffalo, Niagara Falls, and which you bought in Alabama, in Tennessee, in Florida, in Texas, all turnkey professional property management. The investors over the past 20 years, the handful of them that purchased through our network, for the most part, they have done very well. It has exceeded their expectation. And yet, understand, right? Not everybody can benefit from our network. Not everybody have the means financially to buy investment turnkey properties out of state, long distance, remote, what have you, even with the property management. So now, again, the majority of people within our network, they could be any network, right? You have a handful of motivated investors that get it.
Correct.
They have the motivation, they have the means and the commitment to buy properties and hold it long term. And the majority would never do anything. So here's a frustration, Julie. You and I talked about this before. Okay, let's go over. We have to ask ourselves, the people who have not purchased investment properties within our network, we have to wonder, we have to ask ourselves why. I know we discussed that, right? We discussed about the fear basis and all that, but I get it. So with that in mind, let me share my screen and go over why. Okay, if our investors, look, most of our investors live in California, very high price housing market. I live in Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area for many years, but I always buy out of state, and hundreds of our investors buy out of state. You live in Southern California, another high price housing market, you buy out of state as well. Okay, let's use some assumptions, Julie. Let's brainstorm. Why? I know there are many places to buy. I know people have a lot of strategies. I'm going to ask you a quick question, and you just give me a quick answer before we'll dive deeper into other options, other alternative people may have. Especially, it doesn't matter whether you live in New York City or New Jersey or Boston, high price market, or whether you live in Miami, whether you live in Chicago, high price market, and California and Pacific Northwest, Seattle, very high price markets. Very hard to buy cash flow properties, right? In these kind of markets, whereby
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's impossible to buy an event unless you have a lot of money, but yeah.
Exactly. Answer me why our members giving the ready-made properties all ready to go within our network quickly, from your thoughts, why people still have not pulled the trigger. Then we're going to go over this detail.
You can't say it's for lack of information because there's so much information out there. So I think that could possibly be it. There's too much information and people can't make a decision on what direction they want to go to. Either that, they haven't decided what their goal is, like what is the strategy, or even what their why is. Why do you want to own property? Everybody says they want to be an investor, but why do you want to be an investor?
Right.
And then I would say, again, the third major contributor is this fear. Listen to the gloom and doom, as you've talked about several times, the crash bros and all that stuff, listening to all that gloom and doom, waiting to time the market. And I think all that comes into play when people don't want to or can't make a decision. And then I would say the biggest strategy is maybe they're just not all in. They're not all in. You've got to be all in. You've got to be willing to pull the trigger in spite of what you hear on the news or see on the YouTube or whatever.
Okay, I get it. I agree with you 100%. You and I talked about it many times.
Right.
So now let's make another assumption for the purpose of this podcast. What if somebody does not like the property that I'm presenting? I love it, right? We have a very diversified portfolio, all cash flow properties in fast growing areas, throughout the country, in Florida. Like I said, we have some great turnkey cash flow properties. Property management does everything. Growth markets in Florida, in Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, the Midwest, Buffalo, Niagara Falls, and we have upcoming products in Oklahoma and in Indiana very shortly through Richard Avani. So we have broadened our great turnkey cash flow markets. So let's assume the other members who have not purchased from our network yet, they wanted to use other strategies. Don't get me wrong, they live in California, right? They live in high price California, and or other high price market. Make that assumption. Oh, okay, that's fine. They do not like my type of properties, my business model that I'm promoting. Okay, let's assume that. So the question you and I have to ask ourselves is, what other options do they have if not buying turnkey cash flow out of state stuff? Okay, again, those our members we could use the assumption of our members, right? They are doing other research. They're trying to find they have other quote unquote buy box. They have other strategies. Let's say they don't like our strategies and they live in California and in other high price markets, right? And they have to buy somewhere else. So let's go over the other options and strategies they might entertain. Something that if they do their own research, they will see gurus, fake or otherwise.
Right.
They do their research. They look at TikTok. They look at Instagram, other people's podcasts, the whole bunch of YouTube videos out there by those gurus. They go to live events. They go to Facebook meetings, whatever, and they learn about other things. Okay, what other buy box they want to focus on. So here's the challenge. Hey, Julie, I watch other people's podcasts quite often, just out of curiosity. I can always learn something, even though I've been investing. Julie, even I've been investing for more than 20 years and I've done a lot. I can always continue to learn, just like you and everybody else should continue, because the power of technology, you can learn so much. When I watch one of those popular real estate podcasts out there, and I'm not going to mention any names, there are some very large real estate podcast videos out there all the time. So when I watch their videos, here's what I hear. You notice they mention the word deal. Oh, quick deal. Every other word come out of their mouth, or those YouTube presenters, those gurus, they mention the word DEAL. Deal. Oh, you need to buy deal. Oh, you have to find this kind of deal. Just know if you cannot get a deal, don't buy. Look, the way I define a deal as a real estate investor, every time I buy a good cash flow properties in any good markets with a long-term investment methodology, I consider that a deal. Doesn't have to be an amazing deal. To me, it's a deal when I take action to buy one rental property, right?
Exactly.
Whether I'm getting 50% discount, whether I'm getting 10% discount, as long as it meets my quote unquote buy box, I consider that a deal. But the definition of deal by these YouTube gurus out there, they talk about deals almost every other word. Okay, I encourage you to watch some other YouTube videos. Okay, and just concentrate and focus how many times they mentioned the word deal. I counted like deals 50 times, the word deal, in about a 10-minute presentation by those gurus from TikTok, Instagram, podcast videos, live events, whatever. Furthermore, part of their conversation when they do the videos, they say, oh yeah, you should go out there and buy multiple doors. What the heck do they mean by doors? Sometimes I hear a testimonial video, they are done by the guru, and they interview some of their investors. They bought through them, some of their students. Let me give you an example. This 21-year-old realtor, he was being interviewed on a testimonial. Oh, I bought 200 doors last year, and his age, he's 21 years old. Okay, then I asked myself, what the heck does it mean 200 doors?
Mm-hmm.
At age 21, now the way I define a door is a rental property. Okay.
Right.
One door means a single family home, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, that's one door.
Right.
A duplex is 2 door, right?
Correct.
That's my definition. Okay.
Right.
The way the kind of things that I promote within my network, I say, one door means a single family home,
Right.
$250,000 in Florida. You rent for $1,800. That's one door. A duplex I'm presenting in Florida is $379,000. A duplex in Ocala, Florida, $379,000. That's 2 doors. That's my definition of a door. And you put 25% down payment, almost 80 grand out of pocket. When this young kid, age 21, who bought 200 doors last year,
Right.
does that mean he bought 200 single family home for $300,000 each and he has 80 grand down payment for each door?
Right.
So if he needs $80,000 down payment to buy each rental property, each door times 200 doors, that's $16 million cash down payment to buy 200 doors. Now, how does a kid 21 have what, $16 million
Yeah.
cash
Math. Yeah.
to buy
Yeah.
200 doors?
That doesn't even make any sense.
That's how those YouTube gurus, that's how they promote their podcast. Oh, I have a testimonial. Oh, today I'm presenting to you a young kid, age 21, who have a $50,000 a year salary job. He was able to accumulate 200 doors. Oh, okay. Does he have $16 million down payment to buy 200 doors? That's not what he meant. You know what he meant by that, 200 doors? He buying syndication. He and 1,000 partners, he put in 1% of his money
Oh,
to
interesting.
get into a 50-unit apartment. He co-owned with 1,000 other investors,
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
like a mutual fund, like a real estate investment
Right.
trust.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. A REIT. Yes.
Yeah, it's a REIT, real estate
Mhm.
investment trust. It's like a mutual fund shares. He
Right.
doesn't own those doors outright. He have a small fractional ownership of a collective syndication.
Right.
But he doesn't own the 50-unit apartment. He owns a little tiny fraction of the 50-unit apartment. And his contribution to the down payment is like $1,000, $2,000. Oh, yes, I own 50 doors and I'm only age 21. That's how they promote their stuff. That's how the YouTubers, they get the clicks, they get the subscribers, they get the views, right? Too good to be true, but
it's all about getting views. They're probably
Yeah.
making more on the views.
technically speaking, they're not wrong. Technically speaking, they're not be unethical. They don't tell you the
You don't get the
50
whole
doors or
story.
200 doors. They don't own 200 single family home rental properties the way we define it.
I think it's so interesting too that if it's being shown on YouTube or whatever media, then it must be the gospel. It must be true. And we don't question it. But even like with the amount of properties that we bought in a fairly short time, 2 years, people will question me. Oh, are those in your name? Like, yes, they are. But then you look at some young kid that's got a million hits on YouTube and assume that he's telling the truth. But your friend that you've known for 20 years is not, or whatever. So
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting. It's the perception of someone making a presentation. I've always said a lot of these gurus make more money on the conferences or whatever than they're actually making from selling the property, selling the information versus actually buying.
Yeah, they're selling a coaching fee, they're selling a subscription, they're selling books, they're selling whatever. Anyway, furthermore, when those YouTubers, gurus out there, let's talk about some other things. They promote fix and flip. They promote, oh yeah, doesn't matter where you live. We live in California or New York City or Boston, you can fix and flip. You can buy distressed property from homeowners who under distress, 30 to 50% discount. Or I will teach you, those gurus, I'll teach you how to do door knocking, physically knock on doors in your neighborhood, 100 doors, houses per day, whatever. Mail the flyers, put the flyers in people's mailbox, or make disrespectful offers to those distressed sellers out there. You have to make a lot of offers. You have to make 300 offers to get one distressed seller to come back and so you can negotiate a deal. Okay. And you should buy from the multiple listing service. There's a lot of deals, whole bunch of deals out there. Deal. They love to say the word deal. DEAL. That is the real estate guru's marketing ploy. Oh, if it's not a good deal, don't buy. You must get a good deal.
And then I think the interesting thing, and I think the hook a lot of times that they use is, and you can do all this and it'll only take you an hour a day, 5 days a week. So within 5 hours, you can own all this. And it's like doing all that, that's a full-time job.
Okay,
Okay. Really. If you're going to knock
absolutely.
on all these doors, that's a full-time job.
Yeah, it's a bait. It's a clickbait. They want to bait you in so you can buy whatever they are offering. Okay, let me go. Let's go over some more over here. You and I talk about this, right? Short-term rental, mid-term rental, burst strategies, wholesaling, self-managing properties. Look, something we talk about this on other podcasts. Short-term rental to me is a short-term career, right?
Right.
We're not going to spend 1 hour on a short-term rental. By the way, whoever you're listening, you can watch our video on short-term rentals, the pros and cons. Look, there's a lot of risk associated with short-term rentals. They're very high priced. There's a lot of costs. You have to spend almost full time managing your short-term rental. And a lot of cities, they will start restricting short-term rentals in their neighborhood all over the country. And we anticipate short-term rental going to be disallowed more and more by in many cities throughout the country moving forward. So short-term rental, high cost, high risk, is a short-term career if you want to participate in this methodology. Now, something mid-term rental, look, all the gurus out there and that are promoting medium-term rentals out there, look, you have to be careful, right? Just because you work for them. Mid-term rental is a very small niche, okay? It's not a mainstream asset class, not just yet, okay? And some of our markets, we can do mid-term rental, but it's still very challenging. Personally, I don't like it because mid-term rental, again, it only works in certain market. You have to, it's not short-term. You could have a mid-term career. Your career might last 3 to 5 years.
Mid-time. That's a good one.
That's why they call it midterm. I go,
great.
You could be financially successful in a few years, but given the extra cost of furnishing, given you have to find the right market, the furnishing itself is cost lots of money, and if you don't know how to market the property, if you don't have 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week to managing your medium-term rental, you're going to fail. You can't sustain it. Okay?
Absolutely.
And the projection of our midterm rental is they usually give you 50% more rental income than long-term rental. Yeah, that could be true. I'm not doubting that. But what about how are we going to spend 20 hours a week try to market the midterm rental? Okay, what if you bought in a wrong location, wrong area, and you can have, even if you bought in the right area, even you're getting the midterm renters out there for 3, 4, 5 months stay or whatever. What if they leave? If the tenant leaves the midterm rental asset class, then you have to clean out the place, spend more money. You have to have you're going to have a vacancy. You can have a 3, 4, 5 weeks in between a different midterm renter. And just to get 50% more rent than a long-term rental with all the actual work, all the actual maintenance, all the actual costs, you can't really scale it. You can't buy 5 or 10 midterm rentals and they'll become a full-time job.
It will be. You'll be doing. Yes.
And finally, I'm not going to talk about wholesaling that much. Wholesaling, self-managing. Oh my gosh, self-managing. That's brain damage. Self-managing is brain damage. So now for the rest of our podcast, let's just do this view because you already know the recap. So the best strategy. Look, I've been doing this for 20-something years, and long-term rental methodology been around for 40 years. Investors for the past 40 years, to my knowledge, okay, for the past 40 years, since 1980s, from people from California, from a high-price market and other high-price market we talk about, they like the long-term rental strategy, especially turnkey. Let the property management do all the work. Look, you and I, you have 6 rentals. You spend less than 1 hour per month managing your rental portfolio.
Absolutely.
The handful of investors I have that I work with for over the years, they have 10 rentals, 20 rentals, 50 rental properties, cash flow, remote, long distance, and they hire professional managers. Their total time to work on the portfolio, 1 to 2 hours per month.
Absolutely.
Richard Avani, my very good
Yes. I love Richard.
Yeah, my investment loan agent, Richard Avani, He has 20 rental properties. You saw the podcast we did a few
Yes.
months ago.
Yes.
He spent 1 hour
Mhm.
managing his 20
Right.
20 property portfolio. With one exception, I think he have one short-term rental, and he spent 3 or 4 hours per week.
Sure. Right.
Which
You have to weigh, is the time that he's spending on that one worth it? Yeah, I'm sure he's getting much higher rents, but then, when you kind of dollar cost average that out with the time that you're spending versus what you're making, it may or may not be worth it. And I think that the important thing, I think that you're pointing out with all these gurus, is that they're giving you a very surface level of what the possibilities are. And it's really not until you're in deep and you've done all the upsells that they're going to upsell you on their program and this, there, that, and the other. And then I have a good friend who lost her shirt trying to do wholesaling from one of those conferences, paid a huge amount of money. Like the money she paid for the conference, I could have bought probably 2 properties with the ones that we have. And you just have to, you can't buy the hype. I think it is. I think if these guys are in business to make money, like everybody, all corporate America is in business to make money, but you got to know that what they're selling is really what they're selling. Because you'll get into it and okay, it's only going to be $1,000, and by the time you've upsold, it's 40,000.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So what? Okay, I'm gonna ask you this question: what's the difference between those potentially fake guru and myself? As a so-called, am I a real
Mm-hmm.
guru? If I am
Well,
if I'm a
I,
real guru, Julie,
yeah.
why am I a real guru? What makes me
Well,
different than
okay,
everybody else?
I can definitely answer that question, and I have been to some of those big guru seminars, and I would say the first thing is the difference between you and them. You're never going to be able to sit down with them. They're going to attach you to a coach, and you were very hands-on with this. You know me, I asked a lot of questions. I'm sure to the point where it can be nauseating, but I
Right.
need to know. I don't take risk. I take calculated risk. You were available. You answered the questions. If you didn't know, you would get back to me. You were not afraid to say, I don't have the answer for that, but I will look that up and get back to you. You were accessible. You literally held our hands through every step of the way. You taught us how to use the software, which is very relative. I will say it's negligible in terms of expense, what we pay for a year,
Right.
based on the value that I've gotten out of it to be able to buy 6 properties in less than 2 years. So there wasn't these huge upsells and, oh, by the way, now that you've paid this, now there's this. If you want this secret, you got to go here and pay another 2,000. There was none of that going on. You were very credible, very legitimate, answered all my questions. Like I said, my big thing is questions. And if you can't answer my questions, that's a dead giveaway for me to move on. And so
Yeah.
I trusted what you were saying. You put me in touch with people. You allowed me to interview the different contacts through Buffalo. And I think I spoke with Maureen down in Alabama, Tennessee area. And they were very credible. And I do my due diligence. I do have the conversation and I do my homework. I look them up and then do my research. So everything that you said, hand out. And it made the decision easy. I would say the hardest thing was pulling the trigger on that first one, and you were very encouraging. It's like you literally crossed all the I's, or what do you call it? Crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. And so really it was just getting past that fear of pulling the trigger on the first one. And then once you do the first one, the rest came pretty easy.
Julie, thank you for your kind words. Here's my final thought for those, especially for our members, the
Mhm.
few thousands within my network. I know there's a reason why you're not buying, but the reason we discussed. We believe in our system, and we've been doing it for 20 years, and
Absolutely.
we have a great team to surround us that we are very proud of. We
Mhm.
vetted, we've done all the advanced research,
Right.
we vetted all the properties, and so it's almost like so easy. But word of caution I have to my members: the grass is not always greener on the other side.
Right.
What I mean
Very.
by that, if you try to choose your own different buy box, if you will, if you do not like my system, my methodology, my procedure, if you try to do it on your own, on
Mhm.
the things, on the other things we just talked about, you might be in for some challenges. I'm
Mhm.
not look. I'm not saying all the other type of investment methodology which we discuss are scams. I'm not saying that, but
Right.
people all be having success doing short-term rental,
Mhm.
mid-term rental, and syndications and burst strategies. The BRRRR strategy: you buy, you
Yeah.
you refinance and you
Rent
repeat.
it, refinance, then repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, BRRR strategies is
Mhm,
also very popular
mhm.
with the YouTube guru podcast, right?
Right.
But do you know every step of the way, the BRRR, every component of the BRRR itself is a risk.
Yeah,
Right.
very good. Very good point. You're absolutely right. Mhm.
Especially in this volatile market, especially in this high rate interest rate market, and
Right.
the volatility of the housing market that we have experienced in the past 24 months.
Right.
Fix and flip, same thing. Very to do fix and flip these days, right?
Mhm,
Because of
mhm.
the volatility of the market, very hard to get those short-term loans to fix and flip. Anyway, I'm not going to go over that. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, each investor, especially when you come from California, most of our members in California,
Right.
Julie, what option do you have if you do not like our buy box of doing
Right.
turnkey out of stake remote, almost passive investing? Then what other options? Okay,
Uh-huh.
you have to look at the risk and reward versus other type of investment methodologies and make
Right.
an informed decision. So I'm not trashing. There are some good legitimate turnkey providers out there in other parts of the US, right? I'm not the only one
Mhm.
doing these kind of things, right?
Right.
But
Right.
anyway, work with somebody you like, work with somebody you trust, work with somebody do you have a ethics that are very transparent,
Right.
that do what's best for you. And it's very hard to find a trusted team out there, a trusted financial coach that have your best interest at hand and do what's right for
That's very
you
good.
and achieve the long-term goal for yourself and your family. So
And
that's
I would just add one last thing. I think you were very upfront about the amount of work that it's going to take. So it's not just like, oh, you just look at a list of properties, pick one, and you're done. You do have to do your own due diligence. Even though you're guiding us, you're still, because ultimately, I'm going to own the property. I'm going to have the property for the rest of my life or however long I choose to have it. So I've got to know enough to make a wise decision. And you were very honest about the amount of time or manpower it's going to take to do that. And it really is. And I will tell you this, and any of your clients or audience can reach out to me. Now that we've owned them for a couple of years, it is nothing. I don't think about them. I've never been to New York. I don't do anything with them until the rent rolls in the middle of the month. And then I go and do my hours worth of work. And then I don't think about it again until the following month.
yeah.
So
That's the
it
that's the
really is,
idea.
it really is that simple.
That's the idea. Okay. And focus on what's important to you. Focus. The time you spend is time that are valuable to you. Spend
Mhm.
time with your friends, your relatives, your children, your grandchildren.
Yes.
Travel. Focus on those priority things and
Mhm.
don't get bogged down with the minute labor intensive
Right.
details of the
Right.
uh, uh, or, or your business portfolio. Okay.
Mhm.
Delegate, let other people do it for you. Okay.
Exactly. That's it. That's it.
With that said, thank you so much for your great comments, Julie. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. And for those of you guys out there, if you see any value whatsoever from this podcast, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And better yet, put your email into our inbox on my website below you so you can become a free member of our real estate investing organization. So you can learn some great daily information in your email inbox about real estate investment opportunities. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. I see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.